What's up, fellas? Welcome back to Dark Souls. So this is going to be the second part, and for this part we already finished off the Undead Burg, so we got past the Taurus Demon, and also like we just left off with talking to our buddy Solaire here. So we'll be able to summon him for future bosses, including the next boss fight in the regular progression, if you want to just go ahead and do the next boss fight here. So first of all, let's go across this bridge. Now, there's a whole bunch of, like, hollow soldiers guarding the bridge, but luckily we won't have to kill any of them because fire comes from heaven. It's a dragon. A pretty massive one. And that dude is just going to guard the bridge. Anytime we want to go up there and, like, want to get past to, you know, the next area, that's kind of a problem because there's a dragon there. So we're going to have to find a way to, like, get around that. Also, one kind of interesting soul farming technique that you can use, this is the earliest soul farming technique I know of in the game, is you can just walk up here. Do you want to come down, dragon? Eventually, typically the dragon will come down and burn the bridge. I'm kind of waiting for him to burn this hollow. Maybe he's not going to do it. Okay, so one thing you can do is you can just stand right here. And after some time, if the dragon notices me, which he hasn't breathed fire in the bridge yet, so I don't know if he's noticed me or not, but the dragon should come down. I'm going to have to pop up and get his attention. If the dragon is just completely derped out, I guess we could just make a run for it. Nope, he hasn't. So, we managed to run past the dragon, but typically what you'd do is you'd stand where I was standing, and after some time the dragon will get impatient, he'll come down on the bridge, and then you can just run past him. But for whatever reason, that dragon was derping. I've never seen him just be so unaware of his surroundings before, but whatever, we'll take it. So this is where you can join the Sunlight Altar. You need 25 faith in order to join it, or you need to help people fight bosses. So you leave your summon sign down, like so. People will summon you, you help them kill a boss, and it reduces the faith requirement by 5. So I think this character starts with 8 faith. Yeah. So I would have to either level faith or get summoned for 4 bosses and help people kill them 4 times, and then I'll be able to join the Sunlight Covenant. But all these dudes respawn on the bridge, of course, every single time you rest at bonfire. So one way to farm souls is you just run out, the dragon breathes fire, kills them all, you run back in. It's like 500, 600 souls every time. It's not amazing, but for this point in the game, it's pretty good. So we're just going to continue on and forget all that nonsense and just move on with our own lives. So we'll take this guy out. Now, that's the way we continue up, and there's a big portcullis. I have no idea how to pronounce that, but whatever. There's a big gate that's going to come down. Some of these hollows will, like, let the gate down the second we run out there. So, you can either kill everyone, and then there's a path that you can go, or you can just, like, run through like a madman and jump through the gate before it closes, which we'll probably do at some point here. But we can also come up here, and here's going to be the second Black Knight that we're going to run into. So, like all... Oh my gosh, I didn't know he could hit me. My head must have been, like, just poking up above the stairs. So this Black Knight, like all Black Knights, is a pretty scary mofo. So we want to get out of here as soon as possible and have some open space so we actually have room to fight him, so we're not, like, trapped on a stairwell. Because when you're trapped on a stairwell with a Black Knight like that, it's almost certain death. So it's better to get out here, fight him in the open where there's a bit more of an even playing field. He'll eventually come out. I can hear him walking. He's sure taking his time, though. He's not in too much of a hurry to get killed, which I can't really say I blame him. Unless the Black Knight is derped out, too. Man, it sounds like the Black Knight is, like, caught on the stairwell or something. The AI be derping so far. Oh, there he is. I guess he just, you know, has extremely short-term memory loss and just completely blanked out on the fact that I came up and disturbed his territory. Oh, I was not expecting him to be able to hit me there. Alright, come on, man. Come on, come down. I'm trying to, like, encourage this dude to come down the stairs. He'll do it eventually. Yeah, I can see his target moving, so he's understood exactly what's going on here. Alright, so, like most Black Knights, you just back off and fireball them. And that's how you kill, like, the majority of these enemies, because they are pretty tough. Now, I've never tried this, but I imagine you could probably lure the Black Knight out onto the bridge somehow and, like, get the dragon to burn him. I'm not brave enough to try that, personally, because if the dragon burns you, it hurts, obviously. But I imagine that's something you probably could do. Oh, nice dodging skills, bro. So this guy with his greatsword, in my opinion, is a little bit more dangerous. Well, for one, he has more health than the first Black Knight we ran across, but for two, his moves are harder to dodge than the first one we ran across. Unless the first one we ran across had a greatsword, I can't remember, but we get a Titanite chunk and a Black Knight greatsword, which is a really strong weapon for this point in the game. Like, the best weapon we have, right, is a Demon's Great Hammer, 138 damage, and it requires 46 strength to be able to even use that thing, so we're nowhere near that. But the Black Knight greatsword has 220 damage. That's insane. And obviously the requirements to wield it are, looks like 32 strength and 18 dexterity, which is a lot. You know, we're nowhere near that, so we're not going to be able to do anything with this weapon anytime soon. But it's just kind of cool getting a really powerful weapon this early in the game, and the best way to do that is by killing these Black Knights. Now, he's not going to respawn, unfortunately, so we can't kill him again or farm him or anything, because that would kind of make the game really easy if you could just farm these Titanite chunks this early on in the game. So what we're going to do is we're going to get past this area. And I think how I'm going to do it is just like make that mad dash and run through the gate before it closes, as I said earlier. I'm at first going to wait for this hollow soldier to come at me before I do anything, though, because these hollow soldiers with the swords are typically a lot more aggressive than the ones with the spears, and I think most of the rest of the hollow soldiers around here have spears, so this guy could actually like dash after us and stab us in the back, but the other hollow soldiers all have spears, so I'm a lot less afraid of them. Alright, so the bell rang. I think that means we've been noticed. Let's get through the gate, and this hollow soldier should close the gate, but we got through it. We're on the other side. Now, normally what you would do is you would have to kill that boar and deal with all these fools. And if you want to do that, that's fine. But I just wanted to make the mad dash through the gate because it's kind of fun. And we will go back to this area, I guess, in a little bit, because there are a couple items to pick up. You can see a shiny thing right above my head there, so there is some stuff to grab. So we'll come back to that, but for now, we are in the next area, which is the Undead Parish. Also, there's a halberd that you can pick up right here. This is a really good weapon. I've actually done a playthrough using the halberd. It's pretty good. I wouldn't call it the best weapon. I wouldn't call it my favorite weapon, but it's not bad, and it's definitely powerful enough to complete the game with, providing you upgrade it. Alright. Let's not choke away this opportunity to get through the gate early. I really could use some practice on the whole parrying thing. That's becoming abundantly clear right now. Now, one thing we could do is just roll past all these fools and get to the bonfire, and after I kill this guy, I'm probably going to do that. There we go, finally. Alright, so unfortunately I didn't get the critical animation of the riposte, which happens after you parry if you press the attack button fast enough, usually. But the other way to kill him, and probably the more safe, consistent way to kill him, is just back off after he swings and hit him. There we go, so he's down. I was really hoping I got a drop from this guy. So we're going to just make a run for the bonfire right now. I'm going to Estus up first of all. And probably what I'll do is I'll spend some time farming this spot. And I'll speed it up. I'll speed up the video and stuff so it's not like super boring just watching me respawn the enemies and kill them over and over. But that knight guy that we just killed, his name is, well, I don't know what his name is. But the type of enemy that he is called like a balder knight, or more colloquially known as a baller knight. So if you kill these ballers, they have a chance of dropping a really good weapon called the baller side sword. So if you get that weapon, it's like really rare, and I've only had it once before, and I've killed a lot of baller knights in my time playing Dark Souls, so I'm hoping this happens fairly quickly. But I do want to farm these knights for a little while, try to get a baller sword, and maybe upgrade that and use that as a weapon, just because it's interesting. I've never really used it as a weapon before, and it'd be fun to try. So this here is our first blacksmith we've run into. His name's Andre, I think.
I'm Andre of a store
Yeah, he's Andre of Astora. Yeah, so this guy's awesome. For one, you get a new gesture from him, and also you can purchase Titanite shards, which are used to upgrade the weapons. But, as I said, I'm going to be doing some farming, so I'll probably get all the Titanite shards I need from farming, because the enemies do drop them. Also, you can reinforce your weapons, make them stronger, which I'll be doing pretty soon. So all this stuff we could use Titanite shards to upgrade. But I'm not going to upgrade any of these, because I'm going to try to get myself a baller sword. Alright, so I guess at this point, we'll do the first run, and then after that I'll probably just like speed it up and spend 30 minutes or so trying to get a baller sword. And if it happens, it happens, and if I get really bored and the drop just isn't coming, I guess eventually we'll give up. But there are some things to check out of the Undead Parish. There's some items to grab before we start like the farming, so we'll do that first. First of all, you always have to kill these fools if you're planning on spending any time in the Undead Parish. Again, practice with parrying really helps. For the final boss in this game, the most easy way to kill him, by far, is actually by parrying the boss, which is when you swing your shield, knock their weapon out of the way, and then stab him in the face. That's the easiest way to kill the final boss. There are multiple ways to kill him, obviously, but if you're good at parrying, that's by far the easiest way to do it. So it's always important to practice your parrying and get ready for the final boss of the game. And then you will have a very easy time of it. Or if you're like me and you did your first playthrough having no idea that the final boss required parrying for the easiest way to kill him, you'll get stuck on the final boss because you don't know how to parry and hate your life. Well, maybe that's a bit of an overstatement, but, you know, you could have had it easier. Alright, so our axe isn't doing a whole lot of damage to this fool, so let's just make things easy and fireball him instead. So this guy's like ridiculously easy to dodge his attacks, because they're so slow and so telegraphed that you could just very easily step out of the way of his attacks. And he drops Titanite shard, which is nice. We'll be using that soon. And another thing that is nice is right here we are going to be picking up our second Firekeeper soul. So we can just go and upgrade, and I think I might do that really quickly. This elevator leads back to Firelink Shrine, which is awesome. I did go down this elevator shaft in the first part of the playthrough, and there's some chests at the bottom that you can grab, but the more important use for this shaft is you get to ride up to the Undead Parish. So this is an awesome shortcut, especially before you unlock the ability to warp between bonfires. It's very easy to get from Firelink Shrine, which is kind of the main hub world, to the Undead Parish, where the blacksmith is at. So we're going to go ahead and upgrade our Estus flask, and we're also going to rest this bonfire. And the reason why is this bonfire has a Firekeeper here, and normally when you rest at bonfires, you only get 5 Estus, but when you rest at a bonfire with a Firekeeper, you get 10. You can also spend humanity to kindle bonfires, so it'll give you more Estus, but humanity is kind of a limited resource at this point in the game, so I'd rather not do that. So now we have 10 Estus. Normally we would only have 5, just to be on the safe side. And we get to keep that 10 Estus until we use it, and then we rest at probably the Undead Parish bonfire and go back down to 5 again. So we're going to make the trip back up to Undead Parish, and all the enemies will be respawned, but that's okay. There is one more enemy inside the Undead Parish who's a non-respawning enemy that I want to kill, just so he's not a pain in the rear when I'm trying to farm some of these baller knights. So we'll like take care of him, and hopefully he won't cause any more issues. That big dude with the shield and the mace, he does not respawn, which is nice. See, we're here, he's no longer there. But the Firekeeper soul is also gone, which is the downside to this. Anyway, there's a baller knight up here. Unfortunately, this baller knight does not drop the baller side sword. The sword this guy drops is the rapier, which I don't know how good it is, honestly. I've never used the rapier. I don't know if it's a great sword or if it's truly awful. I have never made any use of it, so... Oh, no, you don't. You don't Estus on my watch. Alright, he's done. This guy dropped some baller leggings. I'd be pretty sad if he dropped his sword because, you know, we want to kill the other baller knights, the ones with the big shields, for their swords. We don't want this sword. Alright, so this nasty looking dude over here in the armor is a channeler. And I need to kill him. He does not respawn. So that's the good thing about fighting this fool. Is he's not going to come back and haunt your dreams. Did I hit no one with that fireball? That sucks. Alright, I want the channeler to like come down here so I can actually put an end to his life. Because again, he's not going to respawn, so once he's dead, he's dead. See how he likes a fireball to the face. He seemed okay with it, actually. Another one? Alright, he's down. Luckily, he doesn't have a whole lot of HP, but he does hurt if you get hit by his spells, so... He also buffs all these, like, naked hollow guys. That's why they have all the blue, weird gunk around them, that's like some kind of buff. I'm not really sure what it does, but it makes them stronger. It probably makes them do more damage and have more HP. Alright. Now all these naked hollows will respawn, so every single time we want to come up here in the future, we'll have to kill them, which kind of sucks, but that's okay, honestly. It's not the biggest deal in the world. We could also like just go ahead and kill the boss here, and then farm the Baldur Knights afterwards. The only downside to that is it means I have to use this crappy unupgraded battle axe to kill the boss with, which I'm not really a huge fan of. But we will have to like kill all these hollows again once we go for the boss, so that is unfortunate, but whatever. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a large soul of the Nameless Soldier, which is, I want to say 800 souls. It's a good amount. We have a lot of these soul items, so even though we have like 11,000 souls right now, there's probably another good 5,000, 6,000 in consumable soul items that we can use at any time. Alright, come on now. Come on now. No, you don't. No, you don't. Alright, there we go. These guys with the rapiers, they can parry you, so it's always a little bit unnerving trying to melee them. And they do have like a parry animation, so you know when they're going to parry you. It's like when they back off and they're holding their sword like there's some kind of fencer. That's when they'll parry you if you try to attack, so you know not to do it. But sometimes you can take a swing at with your axe or whatever weapon you have, and mid-swing they'll switch to their parry stance and they'll parry you. Even when it didn't look like they were going to.
Still human, are you? Then I am in luck. Could you help me? As you can see, I am stuck without a course.
Oh, so there seems to be like a pretty friendly gentleman here. And we have the option to open his cell and let him out. Actually, we don't, because I haven't picked up the key yet. But once we do pick up the key, we can actually let this friendly gentleman out. Or you can not let him out and he'll escape anyway, over a certain amount of time. So we'll deal with that later probably, but you can choose to let him out, you can choose to not let him out. One thing I can say though is if you don't kill him, he does something like pretty unpleasant, so we'll probably have to kill him at some point. But yeah, anyway. So everything in the Undead Parish, I think, has been taken care of up until fighting the bosses. So probably what I'll do now is just start farming some of these knights, and hopefully, you know, a good half hour. I may even be willing to put an hour into it just because I've heard this baller sword is really good, and I kind of want to try it. But I'll put some time into it and hopefully get it as a drop. So yeah, I'll probably just speed up this next part, and we'll see if the sword happens or not. We got it. That only took like, what, 20 minutes? I'll be honest, I've farmed on a character before for about an hour and I haven't had this as a drop. The only time I've had it as a drop is just randomly, you know, on another character that was probably like, I don't know, it was a mage or something. It wasn't, you know, going for a really good sword that I needed, like the Baldur Side Sword. So anyway, we got the Baldur Side Sword as a drop. I also got the Baldur Shield. That's why I'm wielding this freaking awesome shield. And the Baldur Shield is actually my favorite shield in the game. And you can purchase it later, and I would have done so, but we got it as a drop. I also got the Buckler, I believe. It's in here somewhere. Yeah, I got the Buckler, which is the shield for the rapier carrying Baldur Knights, and I also got the rapier. So I got like all the shields and all the swords other than the Baldur Side Sword, and then it finally happened. So I'm really happy about that. So what we're going to go ahead and do now is we're going to upgrade this Baldur Side Sword to the maximum amount that we can upgrade it for now. So I can upgrade it 5 times. Every time you upgrade a sword, it gets a little bit more damage, and just generally becomes more awesome. We got lots and lots of souls, about 18,000 souls from all that farming and stuff. And I haven't spent a single soul yet. I'm still, you know, level 4. I guess I bought the residence key from that undead merchant, but I haven't spent any souls on weapons or levels yet. First, let's check how many Titanite shards we have. We have 3. I believe we need like 9 to get the max. I believe it's 9 to get all the way up to the maximum amount that we can reinforce the weapon for now. So we'll buy the rest of the Titanite shards that we need. It's 100% worth it. Where is this sword? There we go. And we'll get this thing all the way up to Baldur Side Sword plus 5. And that was indeed the perfect amount of Titanite shards, which is awesome. So I also might need to upgrade my stats a little bit just to be able to use this sword. I think that's, you know, a fair assessment. Yeah, I'm going to need 14 dexterity in order to use this sword. But luckily, I have plenty of souls left over, so I can just go ahead and get 14 dexterity. I also got 4 humanity from killing all those enemies, which is really nice because humanity helps determine drop rates of items. The more humanity you have, the more common it is to just get items. So that's going to be really nice. I'll put the rest of my points after 14 dexterity into endurance, which is the green bar, and vitality, which is the red bar. So I'll be able to have more stamina for blocking attacks, rolling, and making my own attacks, and more health so I can take maybe another hit or 2. Alright, so it's finally time to take on the bosses of the Undead Parish. I say bosses because it's not 1 but 2. And I also just remembered that we haven't even freed Lautrec yet, which is the golden dude in the jail cell. Nice. Alright, I love the attack. Every single weapon in this game has a different moveset. Oh, now we're getting Titanite shards. Just after I spent all my Titanite shards, we're getting them as drops now. And that's a lot of critical damage. 251. I think the battle axe was doing like 90-ish or 100-ish. I wasn't paying that much attention, but yeah, this sword does a lot more critical damage, so we'll do a lot more damage after parries, which isn't that important against these Baldur Knights because I was killing them in 1 hit anyway, but you know, now we'll kill them a little bit faster, I guess. Alright, let's kick this fool's shield out of the way. Shields will not save you now. So, in order to free Lautrec from his jail cell, because I do want to do that, just to, I don't know, show it can be done, I guess, we're going to have to come down here. No, I don't have to fight that guy. If you kill that guy, he's guarding a knight shield, which is not a terrible shield, it's decent, but that's the item behind him. But the baller shield that I have right now is even better, so I'm just going to stick with this one. And any extra Titanite shards that we can get, of course, I can just use to upgrade my shield. That's not a bad thing. Shield upgrades are always good because upgrading shields increases the stability, which means that you take... it takes less stamina to block attacks, basically. So some of these really heavy hits from bosses later in the game, normally they just wipe out your stamina bar. But if you have a really high stability shield, you can block attacks. Oh, and this might have been a horrible idea. It was a horrible idea. Alright, I need a moment here to Estus up. Alright, we're gonna drink. Drink to that. I really hate these hollow guys sometimes, just because they can overwhelm you so easily. Alright, everyone's dead. Cool. Grab the mystery meat key, and we can go free Lautrec. And then what I'll probably do is I'll rest of the Firelink Shrine bonfire to get a whole bunch of health in Estus form anyway. We'll have 10 Estus after resting there. I think that's going to be awesome, so I'll do that. The next boss coming up isn't exactly a difficult one, but I'm going to do it by myself. You can summon Solaire for the boss fight, and he does help quite a bit, but I'm just going to do it myself, because summoning Solaire means you have to go human, which means, well, I'm online right now, unfortunately, so I could, like, get invaded and stuff, so I'd rather just kill it myself. So yeah, let's go free this dude really quickly, and also we'll have to go to Firelink Shrine anyway, to kill Lautrec after we free him, because you might as well. Free him from his cell and just immediately kill him. Because it's a lot easier to kill him at Firelink than it is to kill him here. And we'll see why soon. So unfortunately I'm going to have to kill more Baller Knights. I just killed a lot of them. We're going to have to do a few more. I missed... Dang it, that really sucks. I missed the parry timing, and I died! Oh, I'm so sad. I don't know if we'll see it in like the sped up version, but I basically got like 6 or 7 parries in a row. I was really proud of myself. But as we just saw, you know, I obviously still need a lot of practice. I have seen people who are good enough at this game that they get parries like 90-95% of the time, and you know, it's a pretty small window of opportunity, so hopefully I'll get there one day, but right now I miss quite a lot. Anyway, we'll just I guess we'll probably kill these guys to be safe. Alright, so the power attack from my sword does kill them in one hit, so that's pretty awesome. I don't even necessarily have to parry them. I can just straight up stab them and it'll kill them in one hit. So luckily I didn't actually use any of that humanity, so it's all still going to be on the ground, my 4 humanity, which is quite a bit for this stage of the game. Alright, let's not be silly. Back off, fool. I need to fireball you. Is there someone swinging at me from... Oh, there is! This guy. He's trying to join in on the fun. I was like... I heard someone else swinging at me, not the Baller Knight, and I was like, what's going on? Alright, you can suck on that. Oh, he's still alive? We can't be having that, I'm sorry. Just hold still for a second, man. He thinks he's tricky. But you know what? We could just do this, I guess. Yeah. I imagine he was probably gonna... Nope, no rapier drop. That'd be kind of a troll, though, is if I just got another, like, side sword or another rapier immediately. Even though they're supposedly very rare drops. Alright. So you don't want to rush this part with all the hollows, because, well, we've seen what happens when you try to rush into an area with a bunch of hollows. You can just get overwhelmed. We just got another humanity there, so already up to 5 humanity, which is nice. I do like to stock up on the humanity. More humanity you have, more defense. More resistance to stuff like poison. It really helps. This is not going that well. We could just like stop fooling around and just do the stab attack. There we go. That's one of the reasons the Uchi Katana is probably my favorite weapon in the game, is it has a really good stab attack. Like, you see how far forward this sword lunges? The Uchi Katana, which is the sword you would get from killing that undead merchant dude, it reaches forward even farther on its forward stab. So you can be standing completely safe out of enemies' range and then just stab them. Kind of like how this fool just did to me. There we go. The one disadvantage with pyromancy, like, it's ridiculous. It just... Pyromancy destroys enemies, and if you go down a pyromancy route, you can just wreck every boss in the game so easily with it. But the one disadvantage with pyromancy is it does take a while to cast. So you're vulnerable. Alright, let's go ahead and free this dude. You're free. He just says, I have a reward from you. That's like all that he really has to say at this point anyway. So let's go collect our reward from this Lautrec man that we just freed. Because why not? It's got to be something great, right? I mean, he looks like a pretty awesome golden shiny knight. He's got to have something good for us. So we'll just take the really convenient elevator back to Firelink Shrine and be able to have 10 Estus for this upcoming boss fight, which makes, I don't know, puts my mind at ease a little bit. I'm still hollow in hollow form right now, although I guess you're not technically hollow. Like, my face is pretty messed up. You can reverse your hollowing by using a humanity, and then you turn into healthy form or human form, or I don't even know exactly what the game's term from it, because it seems to change from time to time. But and if you are human, you can summon other players, but you can also be invaded. If you're hollow, you can't summon people, but you can't be invaded. So there's like a trade-off. Let's go ahead and rest at the bonfire. But I'm not turning human right now. I'm just keeping my humanity as an undead, or as a hollow form. And the reason for that is, you know, just for the defense, really. So here's Lautrec. Let's talk to him and get our reward.
Hello there. I have your reward. Please accept it.
Gives us a sunlight medal.
I'm grateful to you for freeing me. Not enough for you. Well, let's not be greedy now.
So of course he sounds really ominous, and he makes you feel kind of uncomfortable. And also, as the note says here, be wary of enemy. Now he's not our enemy, he's not attacking us, and he won't unless you actually have to hit him like 3 or 4 times before he actually becomes aggressive to you. So he says like the sunlight medal isn't a great reward. I disagree with that. I actually think the sunlight medal is a fine reward. Because he could give us like some crappy weapon. Like, for example, he could have given us like a longsword or a, I don't know, a rapier or something like that. A weapon I would never use and get 0 use out of it. But that sunlight medal, you can use that for leveling up in the Warriors of the Sun Covenant. So it's not completely useless. Alright, so what we're going to do now, even though the reward he gave us wasn't completely useless, I'm looking for a little bit more. So, I don't mean to, I'm not trying to punch him. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kill him. Now you can fight him. You can just fight him man to man, one-on-one if you want to. But a far easier way to do it is just kick him off the ledge, because really tall heights kill anything. And then you can quit out of the game and reload. And we're going to go ahead and get back into this and get our real reward, which is right here. 5 humanity, which is pretty good, and a ring of favor and protection. A lot of people call it the FAP ring, which is kind of funny. But we'll go ahead and equip that, and what that does is gives us more health, more stamina, more equipment load, so we can like wear more clothes. I had to take off my hat and my gloves because I was too heavy, and I didn't have the quickest possible roll. But now I can put them back on because of this ring. So that really helps. So we'll go ahead and rest this bonfire, put any excess souls into probably endurance, and now we're finally ready to go kill the next boss, which is the gargoyles. So let's do this. You can summon Solaire for this fight. If I choke and die on the first attempt, which hopefully won't happen, but I mean it's definitely possible, I will summon Solaire. But for this first attempt, we'll just try it on my own. I do have the +5 baller side sword, so it should do a decent amount of damage. It's definitely a lot better than using like that unupgraded axe. That's for faux shizzle. And so the plan is just to like upgrade this side sword as much as possible, and also I'll be getting some like buff spells. I did say I wasn't going to be used pyromancy, and that's true. Like, I won't use it for offensive purposes, but there is like one pyromancy that I'm going to get that buffs your damage. And there's also like some regular spells, like non-pyromancy, that I'm going to get as well that can help with the whole damage buffing thing. So I'm going to be doing that, and then like just using melee only, because I think using melee is so much more fun, honestly, in Dark Souls than using magic. Magic just kind of makes the game really easy, and the first time I ever played through Dark Souls, I did use magic because I was bad, or I guess worse than I currently am would be the right way to put it. But the game's just, it requires a lot more skill, it requires a lot more dodging, it requires more knowledge of enemies' attacks. With magic, pretty much what you do is you just try your best to back away from them and then just use spells, and there's not really much to it other than that. So I'd rather use a sword, essentially. And hopefully this baller side sword is good enough to get through the game. Again, I've never used it before, so I've just heard that it's good. So I said, you know, why not? Let's give it a try. So this is where the next boss is, through this boss fog. Usually fog equals a boss fight. Not always, but usually. So what we're going to do is we're going to buff up our weapon using this gold pine resin. So that should put lightning damage on the weapon and cause us to do more damage. So we'll get a quick cutscene here of something terrifying happening. Not all of these gargoyles are stone, as it turns out. The vibration of the controller is real, man. That's loud. Alright. So we have to fight a gargoyle. And also his tail looks like a massive axe, right? You can actually cut off that tail. And a lot of the bosses in this game have tails that you can cut off. And they'll, like, become weapons. And he'll actually use his tail as a weapon. Alright, that's the first gargoyle down. And I say first because there's another one as well. Now, I'm really glad we got this sword. And I upgraded it because look at the damage it's doing, man. Like, this isn't exactly much of a fight right now. And it's mostly just because of this awesome sword and its awesome damage. So, yeah, that's it. Now that fight looked just ridiculously easy, and it was. But believe you me, if you're going into that fight, like, and you haven't played Dark Souls before, like I did the first time I fought the gargoyles, and you go in there with an unupgraded weapon, and you haven't put a lot of souls into your stats, and you don't know about, like, buffs, so you don't use the gold pine resin, like, that fight is much more challenging. But if you have a decent weapon and kept a hold of that gold pine resin from earlier on in the game, it's not too bad. So let's go ahead and ring our first bell here. There are 2 bells that we have to ring for, like, the first chapter of the game, if you will, and this is the first one. We'll get another awesome cutscene. Pretty gorgeous view. You get to see a lot of the places where you get to go, like that fortress on the right. We'll go there eventually. So we get to climb back down. I think the game gives you a homeward bone as well, so it's like, here, if you want to take the fast way out, you can just go back to the bonfire. You don't even have to do stuff and walk back, essentially. But we're gonna walk back just to save the homeward bone, but also because we want to talk to this guy.
Greetings. I am Oswald of Career, the Pope. No dearest to thy friends, yet magnanimous of the gods, cometh out to confess, or to accuse. For indeed all sins.
Okay, so what you can do from this guy is, first of all, learn an awesome gesture. The well, what is it gesture? Probably like the most famous one in this game. Also, you can buy purging stones from him, which is really important if you get cursed. You can buy homeward bones from him. I didn't even know he sold homeward bones. I guess I forgot. But you can buy some various things from him, but the main reason why you would want to come here is to request pardon. Or absolution, I guess. And that's if you sin. And sinning is like if you kill an NPC, or if you leave a covenant without asking that guy first if you can leave it. Stuff like that gives you sin. And sin means that you're like limited from certain things, and people can invade you and stuff easier. I'm honestly not sure exactly how it works, but I do know there are a couple reasons to like request absolution. Like one of the covenants in the game, the easiest way to join is to sin and then request absolution, and then you can join the covenant. It's called like the Dark Moon Blades. It's a pretty sweet covenant, I've heard. But anyway, we're not going to be doing that. So I think what I'll do to end off here is just like go upgrade my shield a little bit, and then we can move on to the next area, which I guess would be Lower Undeadburg, which has a boss called the Capra Demon, which is a huge roadblock for a lot of people, like including me to a certain extent. I'm not very great at that boss, and I have had a few deaths there in the past, but we'll try to get through that one. So let's see how many Titanite shards I currently have. I have 1, so I need to buy 8, and then I can upgrade my shield all the way. So let's do that. 8 Titanite shards. So I spent like half of our souls, but honestly, it's worth it. This shield just becomes a tank. For most of my characters in this game, I'll get the baller shield, and then I'll level it up. Oh, I need to talk to that guy, of course. You can buy an item which lets you upgrade your stuff at a bonfire, and I might go ahead and do that right now. We just go to purchase items here. Yeah, armor smith box, weaponsmith box. We'll get the weaponsmith box, and we'll get the repair box. Because sometimes your equipment will break, and you'll be far away from a blacksmith of any kind, and you'll be like, man, I really wish I had a repair box right now. So now we can repair equipment at a bonfire. And also I can reinforce weapon, which also applies to shields. Shields count as weapons for some reason. I guess because you can equip a shield in the weapon slot, and you can use a shield as a weapon if you want to. It's not usually very effective, but you can do that. Alright, so now we have a +5 shield and a +5 sword. We're pretty darn well equipped for the next area. And I'll see you guys then once we start off on the next area, which will be Lower Undeadburg. So until then, have a good one.